introduction. So thank you to Terri Gasparich for this webinar. So Terri has her own marketing and design company based out of Auckland, but I know works across the country. Terri I've known through a different organisation, through the NZBCA. So I've been fortunate enough to have this presentation before, and I found it extremely useful. Marketing is something that we all need to get better at. It is the nature of consultancy that we need to sell, and we need to put ourselves out there. And if we can get that down to half a dozen key ways of doing it, I think that would be extremely useful. So Terri has a presentation and 6 particular strategies for business growth that she would like to go through. And I think, Terri, over to you with that. Thank you.
Oh, lovely. Thanks, Dan. Hi, everybody. Yeah, so my name's Terri. Business is TG Design. I've been in this line of work all my working career, out of my own business for 17 years, working with a variety of clients over the years. I'm currently working with sort of the established businesses that don't have a marketing, so I'm a contract marketer. That is where I've landed lately. So I'm going to go through the top 6 strategies of business growth, sort of strategies and tools that I've sort of know that when my clients are using consistently, and I'll use that consistent word all the time, and even for myself, is the consistency of these things that, you know, really helps get a business going. So Dan, if you want to move to the next one. Next slide. Yeah. So these top 6 are what I use, try and encourage my clients to use on that consistent basis. You got your website, print work, a lead magnet, email marketing, social media, and networking. And of course, networking is often the one I can't do for them, but other than that, I can manage all the rest. And I come alongside them to keep that consistency going. And I've discovered that, you know, by putting these 6 in place and working them consistently over that, you know, a good 6 months even, really helps build that data in the background before, in case you want to get onto any keywords, advertising, SEO, keyword, big, you know, Google advertising stuff. You need this data that's been pulling from these 6 over the time to actually give you something for those advertising campaigns to work anyway. So next one, Dan. We'll start off with websites. So your website, you know, it's open 24/7 for businesses, we know, provides that constant access. And you know, first impressions matter, so I highly encourage to keep that your website as up to date and sharp as it can be. Builds your credibility and professionalism. You know, people are searching for you. Think about your own habits. You know, you search people online, you watch them. Dan and I were just talking a few minutes ago that, you know, it can take ages for this sort of lead to happen, and they can say, you know, I've been watching you for 12 months, 18 months, 6 months, whatever it is. So people will keep coming back to these, and you, as long as it's looking professional and it's giving them all the answers. Yeah, look, cost effective. The initial setups, yes, can be a little bit pricey, depends on the extent of the site and what you're actually wanting it to do. But it's definitely, you know, a lot cheaper in the long run to your old TV, newspaper, radio advertising long term. Highly recommend getting a SEO copywriter or an AI copywriter, sorry, not AI copywriter, but SEO copywriter if you're starting out with a website or getting it revamped, is to get someone in there who will research your keywords and statements and long, you know, sentences, and they will build that into your website pages. And I mentioned the AI search because, as we know, that's all well coming into use, and that's what you get on your Google search these days, is it's searching the website before people are even getting to your website. So it's very important to make sure that website is holding all that information. And obviously enables good data collection and visitor analytics and can scale with your business. Make sure you've got your Google My Business and Google Analytics set up, once again, for a bit further down the track if you're wanting to do any big advertising, Google AdWords and, yeah, any of the online advertising. It'll pull from that data. And keep it up to date. Google doesn't like the old static sites, as we've heard, so try and do the blog add an article, any case studies. Google loves all that sort of search, or loves all that sort of stuff, that it's not been sitting static for 6 months plus. It'll more or not overlook you and go to the next site. So yeah, maybe pick a page a month and just review, try and tweak, and add something that refreshes it. And make sure you've got your call to actions. You know, what do you want your client, your viewer to do? Get in touch, download something, fill out a form. You know, always try and make that customer journey, that user experience, as easy and as simple as you can. And do have a picture of yourself on the website somewhere. People like to look. They will click out into your socials as well. So make sure you've got all that looking consistent, and the look and feel and the wording consistent. Right, Dan, next one. So print material. So print complements digital. You know, they can work together. And I always advocate for print because it hangs around a lot longer than a fleeting socials and online stuff. And it appeals to different learning styles. Some people do prefer to hold on to something and read about it later. They can drive people to your online presence through your socials, your contacts. Obviously has that tangibility about it. I mean, in these days you've got paper stocks, and digital printing is really cool, and you can do something really exciting with it. Yes, it might be a little bit of that extra cost, but it will make a lasting impression. You sometimes can get that deeper engagement and retention from clients with it. Less competition these days in the digital space if you can create something that's really quite, you know, is different. Combining print and digital gives the higher recall. You've got the QR codes that can direct people direct to a page, or to download something, or a specific bit of information that you've got maybe on your posts. So think about, you know, your own preference to what you might hold on to. Junk mail, you know, we don't get too much of it these days, but if you get given anything at a show or a seminar, I mean, you know, you might hold on to it. You know, why is that? You've obviously got an interest in it. And also, I always think about, you know, that if you've got a sales team, they've got to go, you know, they go and visit the person. They want to be able to leave something behind, as I still think is important. So next one. The lead magnet. So lead magnet is the bit, you know, it's the ebook, the download, the free PDF, and you are giving away some valuable, you know, content, and it can come from, you know, sometimes topics or questions that your clients ask most often, that you can answer something. So it establishes your authority and your expertise, but it's also giving you that database. You start to build an email database. Well, I've got there effectively and ethically. You can answer, you know, as I said, audience clients' questions. You're building this know, like, and trust with giving away some information, which we will receive their email, which is, you know, a valuable resource. You can, and also remember, you know, your email is an asset for your own business. You can build a really good comprehensive email list. You've got potential clients, existing clients, your warm leads. And remember, you know, a few years ago when Facebook went down, they all flew into a panic because the social media followers, they belong to the platform, not to you, unless you've got their email. So this is a great way of building that database. So I'm sure you've all signed up at some stage for a free download. You know, you've given your email, and we know we can all unsubscribe if we really wanted to. But just have a think about why you're downloading them, what you like about them, what you could do that's along those lines. If they're answering a similar type of topic, what could you make it a bit different and a bit more appealing for your audience? It can be quite evergreen, so you can get a long-term, you know, long life out of these. Sometimes I've got 3 of them, which I mix around when I put out on socials. They're all on my website. Yeah, so that's your lead magnet, building your email database. Next one, Dan. Right, so the email marketing. So now you've got their email, you've got a direct line to your audience. And as I said, these are warm leads because they have given you your email, their email, sorry. And once again, this can also provide detailed analytics because you can see what they're clicking on, what they're liking, what's resonating maybe. You can also, check on the way, as I said, the ones that you're getting as well, the emails that you subscribe to. What do you like? Check out your competitors, and that goes across all these things. Your website competitors, who's your competitors on your website? What do you like? What would you do or do different? And you can do your targeted messaging with emails. If you've got a couple of segments in your list, you can send out, separate emails with a different subject and tight content. So you're building that, once again, you're constantly building this know, like, and trust. You're keeping in touch, you're keeping in front of them. And it is cost effective. I mean, I think most of them are still free, under 500 contacts, email contacts. So that's pretty good in this day and age to be able to still send out some free. They're getting a bit tighter. I think MailerLite's just changing up its platform at the moment. You can only have a maximum of 500 for free. But, they're all monetizing their assets as well. And then from the email marketing, if they've downloaded your lead magnet, and they're now in your email marketing list, you can set up the welcome sequence. We've all maybe experienced those where you'll get a welcome. Thank you for downloading my lead magnet. In a few, I'll be sending consecutive emails over the next few weeks. And so it's still easing them into getting to know you. You can add a little bit of different content in the next one. So it's once again layering up that know, like, and trust. Yes, what is it? Yeah, so have a think about the emails that you get and why you get them and what you like about them. And you can try and create your own along those lines. Next one. Okay, social media channels, right. So power to engage directly with us. This has been the biggest change over the years, hasn't it? Massive reach, real, engagement, variety of ways of getting, the text, images, videos. But it still comes back to choosing a platform. I think for each client that I work with is choosing a platform to think about where their clients are and how to get in front of them. Predominantly, probably this audience will be LinkedIn, maybe a bit of Facebook. It still comes down also to what you like doing. I mean, if you might find an audience on TikTok, if that's really your thing, if you love getting on video and doing something a bit more quirky, you never know, but you've got to be able to put that time in. So I still come back to figuring out with the client where their audience is best found. And as I said, probably be the LinkedIn is the biggest one at the moment. Once again, you're building brand awareness and loyalty, and it can give you really good analytics. You can obviously see who's liking, you get the little notifications, whether you want to connect with them. Posting consistently, even with a modest reach, even if it's once a week, posting something just keeps that visibility up. And once again, layering up the know, like, and trust. And social proof is powerful. So you want your reviews and your testimonials with videos, maybe from clients, is always powerful. What do they say? It's the, you can like a post, you can comment on it, you can start to interact and connect with people. And even if you don't post too much, just the fact that you get on there and you like, and you've probably seen on LinkedIn, someone that is connected to you will say, oh, Tim Smith liked this post. So all that sort of thing is powerful, because when I get on there and I see, oh, I know Tim and Tim's liked it, why has Tim liked it? So I might look at the post. So there's all that sort of thing that goes on there in the algorithms. And remember your LinkedIn recommendations, because you have to ask someone to put a recommendation on, which I think is good. You can't write it and stick it on yourself, but you can always jog there. So if you've worked with a client and obviously had a really good result, you can ask them, keep that, building up that credibility again. Creates that community, and it's your SEO again, increases traffic. So it's all this linking with these things, especially obviously the online, so your websites. You've got your emails linking to your website and your socials. You've got your socials linking to your website. Maybe you've got an email, but that won't pick it up too much for the old SEO. But so it's all about, once again, just the circular thing that's going on all the time with these tools. And next one, Dan. Right, networking. So it's the one thing I can't do for my clients, but I always encourage them to figure out where they can be. Once again, where their ideal clients are going to be. It's about building that personal relationships and going with I'm sure you will probably do some networking of sorts, but it's going with the attitude of helping others first. You're not going to turn up a network and throw your cards around and think you're going to, I mean, you could get some work and that would be great, but it's once again building this know, like, and trust, generates word of mouth marketing, opens doors to strategic collaborations. I belong to a couple of in-person networkings, one and a couple of online ones. They're all, you just don't know who's going to be there. And once again, it's the consistency of turning up at these things. Don't just go once and, go in another 3 or 4 months or something. It's the consistency of turning up at these things, because you just never know. Well, good 50-50 can be guests and members, or you just don't know who's going to be there. Is all I can encourage with this. So yeah, increases your visibility. You get to do your elevator pitch, and diverse networks are stronger. So if you could choose a variety, like probably, or Dan's got his NZ BCA, you've got the Chamber of Commerce, all those probably upper level ones might be the ones that this audience is more inclined to attend. We've got a local BA5, Business After 5, I go to. There is a women's version. There's lots of things to be involved with. And the follow-up is gold. I can't recommend that highly enough either. Always follow up after you've connected with someone, if it's on LinkedIn. The gold is in the follow-up. To connect on socials, send a message, and they'll always remember you a lot easier if you can do that. So next one there, Dan. Oh, this is yeah. So it's about integrating all these 6 tools that I talked about. You're attracting clients, you're nurturing through, if you want to call it the sales funnel, you're nurturing them along, you're converting them into clients, you're retaining them through obviously work and the referrals, and on it goes with attracting. So the cross promotion of all these tools, your print materials will drive traffic to your digital platforms, website and socials, promote the lead magnet, website, socials, and lead magnet build the email list, and each channel supports the others. So you've got attract, nurture, convert, and retain with all those things. And customer journey, what we call the customer journey. And next one there, Dan. Yeah, so it's about implementing them. You don't have to do everything at once. It depends on where you're at with business. If you're just starting out, I would suggest your website, your socials, and your networking to get underway. The other ones can come later. If you've got an established business, maybe figure out where the holes are. If you've got a sales team, are they supported enough in any print work? Can you get a lead magnet together? Have you got a database? I started working for a civil engineer company recently, and they've got a really long, they've been going 50 years plus. And I said, oh, have you got a good database then? And he said, oh, I'll go and get it. And I said, oh, I sort of thought, what does that mean? Go and get it, because it's usually online. He brought out ledger books. And I thought, he looked at me and he just grinned and he said, yes, I've got to get these all online. And I thought, oh my gosh. I said, well, just start out with an Excel spreadsheet, just name, email address, just get something going. So it's like, yeah, it's interesting. So always remember, even with people you connect with at networking groups, or, you can just ask, well, look, I put out a newsletter. Would you like to go on the mailing list? Can I put you on the mailing? Can I put you on my email list? It's just sometimes as easy as asking. I mean, we're all adults. We all know we can unsubscribe. But anyway, so you can, I would suggest starting off with your website, socials, and network if you're new, and then beyond that, start integrating those other 3 items. And I always go on about the consistency, which is what I help my clients with, is just trying to keep these consistent, keep them working. And I still think you really need that good 6 months. If you had all these working for a good 6 months, you'd start to really build up some good data and understanding of who's clicking, who your audience is. And sometimes, sometimes from out of that data can come a slightly new audience sometimes, or they might sort of think, oh, okay, wow, they're really loving that information from the lead magnet. Why is that? and see what you can do with that, or expand it, or make another one. And so yeah, it's all about building that, keeping that going, and building each of them up. All right, Dan, that's about it, really. So, right. So your business is ready to grow. Make sure your marketing shows it. Q&A.
Fantastic. Hey, thanks very much, Terri. I just a little bit more interested in what you mean by lead magnet. So a bit more context, and what would actually be a useful lead magnet for a consulting type business.
Well, you'd come back to what would be some of your clients' biggest questions, some of their biggest pain points.
So effectively, you're talking about as some form of gift document, or
it's your free download.
Right.
You're giving away a little bit of IP, a little bit of stuff, but not too much, to whet their appetite for them with a call to action that says, here's this is what you could achieve. Are you doing this? Give them sometimes a bit of a quick win. And other than that, want to know more, get in touch. Yeah.
Thank you.
So it's giving them something, but not everything.
Yeah. It's getting them to go, this is really useful. I need more. Yeah.
And therefore you're getting their email to start building your database up. And predominantly, as I said, they're warm leads because they're interested to download. So yeah, think about your own habits. Maybe when you go to download something,
Usually closely followed by unsubscribe is what I tend to do.
Yes. Well, we hope that doesn't happen, because if you can get them on from, if you set up the lead magnet, which then you get the email, and then you send a welcome, you start, you can have a 3-4, email sequence that goes out 1 week apart or something, just to keep them a little bit interested and introduce them a little bit more to you and what you do. And then hopefully, they keep that in their mind and think, oh, okay, maybe I'll get hold of Scott, So
Thank you. As opposed to okay. No, I get that. Thank you very much.
Okay. So sometimes I ask them, what are the most common questions that you hear all the time that maybe is something you could answer in a lead magnet.
Terri, you said, I was going to ask you this in the last presentation, I forgot as well, actually. But know, like, and trust, that's come through in a number of different phases. I take it that's a fundamental strategy that underpins all of that. Could you explain a little bit more about, because three very similar terms, as it were, but they obviously mean something different.
Well, know, like, and trust. It's like, you come back to that authentic word. It's like people want to do business with people. So that's why I always say, try and get your photo on the website. Make sure you've got your good photo on your socials. Put it in your lead magnet. People like to know who they're going to pick up a phone and talk to. Oh, I can see, Tim Smith on the screen. I know who I'm talking to. It's getting to know you, getting to trust you, or getting to know, like, and trust. Getting to know you, starting to like you because they're understanding that you can answer their questions, you know what you're talking about. You've got a bit of and then sometimes you hear those things like, I feel like we haven't met, but if I meet you on the street, it's like, oh, I sort of know you because I've seen all the stuff online, I've read all the stuff that you're doing, and you start to build that trust connection. And that's what will get them over the line often to pick up the phone and book that call. So all these are sort of just keeping in front of them, keeping the warm lead happening, all these tools, these 6 things. And you're just building. As I said, New Zealand's a small place. We all know somebody who knows somebody. So it's, building that referral thing that goes on.
So it's all these little mini interactions, isn't it, that build over weeks and months and even longer. There is, I heard, not something that you'd brought up, but of course you could organise that, couldn't you? You could say, look, I'm going to try and proactively send 6 contacts over 6 months to this person in a way that helps build that through. That seems
yeah, very
yeah,
much so.
yeah.
Yeah, and you can do that via, LinkedIn as well. There's often there's a whole strategy around LinkedIn, and I've been doing that since the end of last year, and that's certainly starting to pay off. It's connecting with people. It's getting maybe a Zoom call, having a chat, but maybe you could send them if you've got a lead magnet, you could say, oh, here's the lead magnet, this might help you. You've got something that just keeps that interaction going, keeps you in front of them, and keeps you visible is the biggest thing. You drop off social media, or if you're not posting on social media, and you've been posting for a while, and then you've got to sort of get back on the horse, so to speak, and start posting. Competitors can whip in and take the space or whatever, but not from. That's maybe not a good example, but you know what I mean. It's like if you're not visible, you're not being seen, people forget so quickly what's the social stuff.
So what about that transition? There's a transition at some point. You think, gosh, I've been sending this guy stuff for 15 months now. I might as well put myself out there. Do you need any work doing? There's a point at some point where you go like, we've got to try and move to the sale now, or otherwise it's really a lot of work.
Yeah, I think it's.
Or do you wait for them to come to you, or you just keep on going? Is that?
I think.
What you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, if you get on the Zoom call, it's often, or if you can go and have a coffee with them, or you can go and actually physically meet them, that will often help. And it depends on how soon that is in the journey, I suppose. It still can sometimes be a long game. The civil engineering guy, I connected with him, I think right at the beginning of the year, but he only contacted me in about June. So that was a good 6-month lead of him watching my stuff, watching my posts, and finally getting to that stage. And as we talked about before, I suppose that's also the same with networking. You just never know. You don't know what's going on in people's worlds and people's minds and people's businesses. And it's just, all those little touch points. Especially, obviously, if you've got them on the email list, you're going to be in touch with them anyway. If he puts a post out, if he puts, you can, what do you call it? You can ring the bell on their posts, on their profiles. So if they put a post up, you'll get notified, and you can at least go in and leave a comment, like it. Liking, or one of the emojis, is the lower of the logarithm things. Leaving a comment, and especially tagging their name, and thanks Bob, blah blah blah, and commenting back and trying to keep a conversation. And I'm in a group where we do what we call Traction Tuesdays. So you might see them where there's quite a few people I tag, but it's a way of each of us getting our stuff out. So even as a group that you are, you could tag a few of each other and work it that way. Pick 3 or 4 of yous that are going to, put a post out once or twice a week and just tag each other in it. So that will pick a note of it, and hopefully they'll comment, and that just keeps pushing it out to their audience all the time.
I think we did that, didn't we, Darcy? In fact, the group is still going. I think it's quite.
Oh, cool.
I'm not sure how effective you found it in particular. I found it effective for when I've wanted to get involved, I suppose.
Yeah, it's hard to know because you need to run like a double test. And but what we did, is there was about 6 or 7 of us, and we got together and set up a message in LinkedIn. So whenever someone posted something, they could just post the link in the message, which would alert everybody else, and they could choose what actions they wanted to take from there, whether it was simply to like the post or comment on it. But Terri, coming back to the point you were making, to give it that little bit of boost straight off the straight out of the blocks, as opposed to posting something, and it might be one of your best posts ever, and for some reason after 3 hours no one's even touched it because they haven't seen it, and they die a death really quickly.
I once got one with no views, No views at all.
No.
I didn't
Yeah.
think that was possible.
No,
LinkedIn
I
must have
know.
just decided it was so poor, it wasn't worth putting in front of anybody.
But yeah, and as you say, doing those tests, it's like no rhyme nor reason sometimes. It's just bizarre. And then I get a whole screen and a whole lot of 2-week-old, 3-week-old posts coming through, and I think, oh my gosh, and then it'll flip back into, 2 or 3 hours ago. So it's like, oh, but yeah, look, it's a beast on its own. But yeah, I always say, you got to, excuse me, play the game. It's what we're working with at the moment. Excuse me. Yeah, so who's got a good database going? Oh, excuse me, got the froggies.
Depends what you mean by good, I think.
Yeah.
We have a database. It's got me, Natalie, my dad, there's a few others in the family. Yeah. I suppose,
Okay.
I mean, look, the NZBZA database, for example, has about
Yes.
200 people on it.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable size, I think. Keeps us there.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that for members, and you've got a warm lead one?
Yes,
as well?
so we're about to put the warm lead one into operation. We've kind of been collecting the warm lead for a year.
Yeah,
Now I think we
yeah.
have enough to go back and, it's worth having
Yeah.
a warm lead one. So I think
Oh,
that's
for
going to be very
sure.
soon.
Yeah. And like I said, we're all busy, and I don't get offended by stuff coming through an email. As we all know, you scan it and delete it if it's not what you want just at the moment, but some you'll flag, and put off into a folder. So yeah, you just, once again, I come back to that thing, you just never know where people are at. You might hit them just at the right, they might hit them, sorry, wrong word. They might receive your email, just at the time when they think, oh yeah, okay, come on, let's get on with this, and I'll phone this person. Yeah. It's just keeping in touch, keeping in front of them. So is anybody, you're doing individual email marketing at all per person, or is it the group, or?
Oh, well, I do very individual emails.
Oh, okay.
My client base tend to be senior leaders, mainly within government. So it's very much a personal conversation.
Right.
It's not. I don't do broadcast emails by.
Right.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Oh yeah. Well, that's still good. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And that's why you're asking about keeping in touch with them on the. Yeah.
It's having conversations that matter to them.
Yeah.
And it's individual. Yeah.
Yeah. Very much
What
so.
frequency should you stay in touch if you are doing this personalized approach without sort of being
Nagging.
seen as harassing?
Annoying. Yeah. Oh, geez, that is a hard one, because I put out a bit more of a broadcast one once a month. There is thoughts about, if you're a little bit more individual, that's a bit different. You could use it in the different scenarios of, like, okay, you might send them an email, but you also might keep an eye on them on LinkedIn and see what they're posting and keep connecting via that way. Is there anything you could send them maybe in the following month saying, oh, I saw this and was thinking about you. This is what blah, 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 maybe something you do, something you don't, just staying in touch. It's just, I think it's, if you approach it from the friendly angle, not the, heavy sales tactic. I wouldn't get offended by that, because, we're all after work. That's why we're keeping in touch. So, you'll sort of, maybe it depends on how well you know the person or how much you've been in touch previously. But if you're starting out, I'll probably say about every, month to 6 weeks, maybe roll into 2, see what the reception's been like. If you get, if you get pretty ghosted, it might be just that they're busy. It's the thing, you come back to that thing again. If you get, for whatever, on the socials, there's been a thing, some heavy sales stuff coming through on the LinkedIn messaging and things from salespeople, and it's like they just have to write. I had one guy write, I connected with him, I sent in some further information, and he just says, no more correspondence, please. I thought, okay, that's fine. Don't take it personally. It's just, didn't want any more correspondence. So there we go. So, I mean, they'll either completely ghost you or tell you, I suppose. Don't know if that was helpful, Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the friend, some people might, I don't know, what do other people think? Do you get annoyed by someone? It just depends on the approach.
I think it depends on the approach.
Yeah.
I do. I mean, there's a guy I have in mind who's, it's been 3 months since he got in touch, but he then came in with such it was like an over friendly way, as if we were long lost friends. And it just got me wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So
Yes.
rather than the timing was absolutely perfect. I did tell him to get in touch in September, but he just got, so which was 3 months. So for me, there's somewhere around 3 to 6 months. I think if you don't keep in touch that often, you fall out of touch. But more than 3 months might be a bit too much for some people. So it's somewhere around there is kind of what I'm spotting. I mean,
Okay. Yeah, good point. But I still think if you can connect with them also on LinkedIn and just watch what they're up to. Be able to put the odd like or a little bit of a comment or something. It doesn't have to be obviously salesy, but you just comment on their post or something. It just keeps you in their radar. Yeah.
Do you have to be sensitive to what you do comment on in terms of, obviously, because it goes onto your feed and potentially, where I have two significant clients in the same industry sector. In fact, they're based in the same city, and they're competitors. So I don't comment on either of their feeds purely and simply because it'll be seen by the other one.
Yeah,
and
I understand.
I do consulting for both. There's a Chinese wall in between them, in inverted commas. But the world is too small for us in consulting to not work for. It's
not take on those clients. Yeah, fair enough. Okay, well, that probably comes back to your individualized emails, and you could message through LinkedIn. They wouldn't cross each other. You could just go, I saw your post, thought that was great, blah blah blah. Just another way rather than putting it out in the public arena on the socials.
I find that sometimes a very effective approach because it's clearly handcrafted for the person and not for the audience that they're talking to, which I think is a different approach. You don't want to get out there. It's not about you anymore. It really is just about them, which I think can be important.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, it's good point, Alan. Yeah.
Okay, so as a professional services company, how much time should you spend scrolling through LinkedIn posts versus actually doing some work that generates some income?
Well, I aim to put an hour aside a day at the moment. So I get in there, do about half an hour of connecting, half an hour of commenting and looking through. Sometimes I'll split it. I might do about half an hour in the morning of connecting and do the other bit at lunchtime, see what's come through. So I'm looking, and also think of sometimes from my aspect, I'm looking for, I've been working with a lot of my clients have ended up being in the manufacturing engineering, civil engineer guy, construction sort of areas. So sometimes it's hard to get to the owners of those businesses. So I look for the satellite services, which are the business advisors, coaches, accountants and lawyers. So sometimes I'll connect with those people just on the sort of loose radar, when I'm looking to actually connect. So I've got a little bit of an intro thing I do through the messages, and if they connect, I do a little bit more, and then if they connect, I'll maybe ask for a Zoom meeting just to talk a bit further about what we do.
Cool.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yep, no, really good food for thought. Thanks, Terry.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
I may well be in touch. Let's think about stuff.
Yeah, thank
But
you.
yeah, no, this is really good. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Terry. And what I like about the way you presented it is you're just getting it down to some really simple things.
Yeah.
And I think that's the
Mm.
that's the overwhelming bit for a lot of consultants. It's just where do I start, especially new ones, actually, especially new ones. So,
Yeah.
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 It's a good advice. I'm about to get into 2 days of networking at the Institute of Directors Conference. So I'll think through what you've said.
Yeah, put it into practice. Yeah, cool.
Indeed.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because you just so many things can come from networking, from collaborations to. I mean, I don't know if you guys collaborate, but it's a different thing. Anyway,
In my business, we tend to collaborate a lot across the potential competitors. So yeah.
Okay.
Hmm.
All right.
thank you very much. Thank you
Okay,
all for
thank you.
attending.
Nice to see you.
And
Thank
a
you.
recording should
Thank
be
you.
available in the next 48 hours, I hope, now that we've got used to this system. But thanks again, Terry, for hosting or for presenting. And yeah,
Thank you.
everyone
Thanks for the
have a good evening.
opportunity.
All
Yeah.
right. Thank you very much.
Thank
Cheers.
you.
Good night.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.